Hi guys, and welcome back to another Wardle Road video. Now, after the fantastic feedback I had on the last 00 gauge video about my exhibition layout county school, I thought we'd do another one, and for this video I've been very kindly sent some products by DCC Concepts. Now, these are the products in question. We've got the Alpha Mimic board here with 24 LEDs, and we've also got some of their new legacy lighting range. So the plan for today's video is we're going to install one platform lamp. We're then going to install one of the LEDs that comes with the Alpha Mimic kit. We're going to install the Alpha Mimic board underneath the layout, and then we're also going to go and install a pre-existing LED and get that working on DCC using the Mimic board as well. So hopefully I'll be able to give you guys an idea of how these things work and installing them. So if you want to try this yourself, then you've got a base to work off. So what I'm going to do now is go to the workbench and we can unpack some of these goodies. So yeah, thank you to DCC Concepts. Really do appreciate you guys supporting the layout. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, please do hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if this is your first time here. And as always, any feedback, please leave it in the comment section below. But enough of that, let's get on with today's video. Right, so the first product we're going to look at is the Alpha Mimic board. Now, as I mentioned at the start, this particular kit comes with 24 lamp LEDs and 24 building LEDs. So the idea of this is if you've got a build like I do just here, this is a work in progress station master's house that I'm working on. Now, currently I have a room here, you can see there with a little piano in it, that's going to sit just inside here. And I've already installed an LED into the top of that. So we're going to get this working with the Mimic board. We're then going to install a second LED in this window down here using the ones provided. And then thirdly, we're going to install a platform lamp from one of their new legacy lighting ranges. So as you can see, these are in the green, the Eastern green, that will match the rest of the layout, so it fits the era perfectly. We've even got two lamps up here as well, which will end up on the main building once that is complete. So what we'll do now is open this up and have a look at what comes inside the kit. So to start with here, we've got a huge amount of pre-wired plugs. Now these go straight into the side of the Mimic board, and then I'm guessing the other end will then go to any pre-existing LED lights that you have. So obviously we'll need one of them to install the current lighting we have in that little room there. And then the second lot, if I pull this inner plastic out, will be for the LEDs that are pre-soldered just here. So lastly, we have the Mimic board, and that comes with what I think is a jumper link to, I think if you want to have multiple boards, this is what you use to link them together, and also some heat shrinks. So if you've done any soldering for your own LEDs, you can put this over the joints to protect them. But what we'll do now is flip the layout on its side and we shall get this installed. As you can see here, we've just got the two. I think all we're going to need to install is the two wires here, which is the DCC power bus. So I can just take that off the current bus ring under the layout, and that should get this block powered. We'll then need to install one of these LEDs here inside the house, and then solder up with one of these jumpers an LED to go into one of these plug sockets along the bottom. Now, speaking to Richard at DCC Concepts, you can have up to 3 LEDs off each one of these before it affects the illumination. I think, is that the right term? How bright the LEDs are. So it gives us an option to have this is more than enough for county school. We're not going to need any more than this with the amount of LEDs we can have that I have running on the layout. So in theory, if you wanted to, you can have them all wired up to the 3 we're going to look at today, just to one plug. But for the sake of this example, we're going to do it over 3 different plugs. So yep, let's go over to the layout. So looking at the underside of the first half of the layout, you can see we've got the Mimic board here. Now this is the negative wire of my bus wire, and then I have the positive up the top here. Now the two holes here, these are where the wires are going to come through for the lighting for the station master's house, and then just further forwards here we have a hole just here which is going to be for the station lamp. So what I want to do is position this board somewhere close to this. I mean the wires are relatively long anyway, but just for the ease of access it'll be easier to have it all in one location. So I'm thinking either screwing it along the backboard here, or maybe trying to fit it somewhere up here. But once I've done that, I can then get a couple of cables, a couple of wires, and jumper them into the bus feed. That then means that this is ready to go. So prior to programming, we can get it all set up and get all the lights and everything plugged in and fitted. And then hopefully it should be as simple as loading up the Z21 app and programming it all up. So what we'll do now is get this fitted in, and then we'll jump to the station master's house and install some lights. So as you can see, I fitted the Alpha Mimic panel at a slight angle just so we can see what's going on here and what's going on with the screen. And what I'm going to do now is using there's a little screw terminal on the left hand side here for your positive and negative of your bus wire. I'm just going to connect the negative from here and then run a positive wire up to the top here. And then hopefully once we plug it in, we should get some power on the board. And then before we go and fit the lights into the buildings, I'm just going to set a couple up here just so we can see how to program it. And I'll chuck the Z21 app up on the screen as well so you can follow along and hopefully get this working nice and simple. So what I'll do now is fit these wires and get this fired up. Right, so if I just turn the layout on, and I'm guessing we turn this to on. Right, so we now have, we had the LED screen light up there initially, and we've got these two, what are these, accessory select is, I'm guessing you'll be able to swap through the accessories while you're programming it. So what we'll do now is get some LEDs plugged into here and see if we can't get some of them working from this Mimic panel. So now it comes to fitting the lights. Now going back to what the pack comes with, now having a look at the pack, it comes with a set of LEDs with the ends tinted, ready to be soldered together with the plug half of it. So that means that obviously if you don't want to use their LEDs, you can then solder these ends here to whatever LEDs you're using. But for this, I'm just going to twist these pairs together just to show you how this works. And then what I'm going to do is plug this into number 1. So this panel starts with, when you get it out of the box, it's set to accessory number 1. So it'll go 1, 2, 1 left, 1 right, I think, all the way up to 12 left here and 12 right. So what we're going to do is start by putting this LED in here into 1 left, I believe it is, up in that top right corner there. And then we'll get the Z21 app and see if we can get this to work together and control it off the app. So what I'll do now is just twist these pairs together on the end of these wires, plug it in there, and then I'll bring up the app on the screen. Right, so hopefully on the screen now you can see the Z21 app appear. And now if we go into our control station, as you can see here, is the county school layout. So what we're going to want to do in the top right hand side there, you can see we've got a little LED. I'm just going to put it just there, just for the sake of it, and go into settings on it. Now the address for this, we're going to give, I believe 1 or 0, 1, we'll try 1. And now if I save that, and now if I click on this, there we go. So as you can see, 001 appears on the screen and the LED there. So that's on, and if I tap it again, that has come off. So that means this is all working correctly, and I'm quite happy with these. They're not so bright white LEDs because of the era I'm modelling. It tend to be sort of gas lamps and things like that. So these sort of warm yellow lights, these warm white lights are going to be perfect inside some of the buildings. So yeah, as you can see on the screen there, just by setting that to number 1. And then I assume if I go along here, add a next one next to it, obviously there's nothing plugged into it, but if I click on that and then we edit it and set that to 2, if I press this again, you should see 2 appear on the screen. Yep, like so. Obviously that's not connected to anything, but it just shows that that is working. So what we'll do now we know that the principle of it works, we're going to go and plug in one of my own LEDs and one of the LEDs supplied in the legacy lighting pack. Just before we add these extra lights, you might have seen on the screen, I'll just put it up there again now, a lot of my accessories I actually start my accessories from 900, so this being on 1 isn't going to be the most convenient for me because I'd like to keep things, all the accessories in relatively the same sort of span of numbers. So for us to change that, what we're going to need to do is firstly turn this off, then holding the select button down, turn it back on. And now using these buttons, I can now actually change this address. So instead of 0001, I want this to be 1001, 1002, all the way up to 1012. So to change this, we're going to go across. I think this changes it. So this changes the number across, and then that's the one you use to change where you'd like it. So if we go, so we do that, and then go 1. So now that address here for this LED should be 1001. And now I believe if you hold this, oh no, wait, let's go back to 1. And then holding that down comes up with yes. That means that's working. And now in theory, going back to the app, now pressing 1 there no longer changes it, so that means it's not recognising that it is 1, which is a good thing. So now if we go 1001 on that and press that, there we go. As you can see, that now works perfectly. So that means that runs now from 1001 all the way up to 1012. So now let's go and add the extra LEDs. So the benefit of having these on individual ports means that if I want to control an individual room in the station master's house, I could just choose the number and turn that room on or off. But you can jump, as I mentioned earlier, jumper up to 3 lights on each one. So say the station master's house has got 3 LEDs, we could have them all programmed up to say 12R, and when you turn that off, the whole house will either illuminate or go into darkness. So it's completely up to you how you decide to wire it. I think if I'm going to put more than one LED in here, I'll probably end up using one of these Wago clips at the back here, just so then if I change my mind on how I want it, I don't have to do any soldering anything. I can literally just unclip the wire from there and move it into a different port. So yep, let's go grab a legacy lamp, platform lamp. Right, so exactly the same as before. You can see here I've got one of their legacy lamps in this absolutely fantastic Eastern green, and the details on these are absolutely brilliant as well. So I'll show you some photos and videos of that later on. But same as before, we're going to go up to the top right here, add a light. Now this one, as it is in number 8, we're going to change this to 8 and come off that. And now just by tapping this, the screen should, as we've seen before, change to 1008 and the lamp should illuminate. So there we go, as you can see, that all lights up and the lamp lights up as well. So this is all working exactly how I'd hoped. Super simple. It's taken me a few minutes. It might have come across a little bit longer in the video, but it's only taken a few minutes to set up. And now what it means I can do is take the lighting that I initially set up and fit that into the station master's house. We can then drop those wires through these holes here, and then we can see what they look like on the actual layout inside a building. So let's crack on with that. So as you can see, we've got the board flipped back over now, and I've not glued this down because the platform surface quite clearly isn't finished, but we've got it in place here. And as you can see, I've also moved the LED just onto where the station area is here on the Z21 app. And now when I press that and then press it again, it lights back up. So we know that all works. Then to the left hand side over here, you can see the room that I was using my own LED for. And what I've done is I've actually brought the wires up from underneath the baseboard, because the plan for these sets of wires here is to fix them somewhere behind here, because obviously that's going to stay where it is. And then the wires coming off the bottom of this one here that will join onto those two, they're going to have a clip so I can unclip it to remove the building and then clip it back in place to put it back down on the top, to save having to lift the board up every time I want to take the building off, because as you can see, it's still very much a work in progress. So what I'm going to do now is join these wires up here and hide them somewhere behind the room, and then join the other two wires up to the main house, and then hopefully once we've programmed them into the Z21 app here, they should all work individually. So I'm going to do that and then I'll join you back in a second. Right, so that's all now soldered up, and I've got the first one in there for the room just down on the front right there. I still haven't done this one for the left hand side, but just wanted to make sure this one works. So that one is on 1001. So I've added it to the lamp there, and then hopefully by pressing that, there we go. I've turned the lights off a little bit in here, so hopefully you can see if I turn that off, turning on and off like that, which means we've just got one more LED to do, and then the lighting for the station master's house should be complete. As you can see, you've got the station lamp in front there. That still works as well. It's fantastic. So yeah, last little bit to do. Right, so there we have the building installed with the platform lamp there as well. The other good thing about these concept lights as well is you don't have to stick to the height that they come with in the packet. Now this bottom sort of 2/3 of an inch piece down here, this is removable, which means these lights will obviously sit a tad lower, and measuring them up against the lights that are at county school, the height is actually perfect from the top of this bit here to the top of the lamp. So removing that bottom bit means they'll sit slightly lower and they'll be far more accurate to what I'm trying to recreate. But of course, if you've got this on a street scene or something, then you can leave that bit on to get that extra little bit of height. But as I said, for this particular scene, I think removing that bottom bit and just letting them sit a tad lower will sort of recreate county school far more accurately. But again, they were super easy to install, and even though county school only has about 6 or 7 of these, including a couple of these lamps on the main building, the alphanumeric board obviously can handle all of that, plus the extra couple of lights I've got in the station master's house and in the signal box a little bit further down the layout. So that brings us to the end of the video. Now I hope you found this tutorial useful, and if it's something that you're installing on your own layout, then hopefully you picked up some tips of how simple it was to install into both the building and the station lamp as well, and then of course programming it on the Z21 app. Couldn't have been any simpler really. Now just as I was finishing that, I got a knock at the door and another delivery of this 4 output decoder from DCC Concepts. So the plan for this is, I currently have a semaphore signal just behind the camera which runs on a Traintech circuit board, but I would like to see if we could use this to operate the 4 arms of these 2 semaphore signals here using just this one accessory decoder. So if you do follow me on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, you can keep up to date with how I'm getting on with this. I'll post some pictures of the install of this later on. And if this is something you'd like to see a little bit more about on how to use with the Z21 app, then do let me know in the comment section below. But as always, if you guys did enjoy, please do hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the 00 gauge. Really would appreciate any feedback in the comment section down below. Of course, I am still working on the standard gauge stuff as well. And again, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see plenty of progress pictures of that. But other than that, please do hit the thumbs up. If this is your first time here, please do subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.